Welcome into the Tuesday episode of the David Hookstead Show. Happy to have you all here as always. It's going to be a big Tuesday. I have a huge interview with Jack Carr coming up that we're going to do later today. I assume that we'll probably get that to you edited out tomorrow, Wednesday. But I'm telling you all right now, we got a great show. I'm super excited for that interview. But before we do that, let's do this. So Elon Musk, a good friend Elon, was at the Met Gala Monday night, which frankly, I don't know why anyone would want to waste their time at such an event. But he was asked by Vogue what his goals are for Twitter, what he kind of wants to make the platform. And he said, let me pull up his exact quote here so that we're getting it completely right. He said, my goal, assuming everything gets done, would be to make Twitter as inclusive as possible and to have a broad swath of the country on Twitter, and that they find it interesting and entertaining and funny, and that it makes their life better. Look, this is what blows my mind when people throw tantrums, freak out, flip out about Elon Musk. He's just talking about making things fun again, having fun debates, having fun conversations, talking about stuff that you find interesting, talking about stuff that you find entertaining. And that really scares a large portion of the population to have a platform where free speech is uninhibited, it's unfiltered, and people can talk about and do what they want and say what they want. And that terrifies some people. And I guess I don't really understand why. Because if you're just a normal person, right? Hold on, I got something coming up here on my screen. If you're just a normal person who supports freedom of speech, who supports vigorous disagreements, who supports vigorous debates, why would you be against Elon Musk wanting to make Twitter just a place where you can have fun, you can engage in entertaining, interesting stuff? And the reality is people don't want their worldviews challenged. And that's true for people all over the political spectrum, but that's definitely true for people on the far left. And I'll bring up a very timely example. We all know, and I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty details of abortion because, believe it or not, this is actually very true. You don't need to have an opinion on absolutely everything. You don't. You don't need to voice your opinion on everything. But we all know that draft reportedly leaked about Roe versus Wade overturning, and people on social media are repeating things that are just blatantly false. They're pretending like such a decision would outlaw abortion in America across, sea to shining sea. That's not true, but they don't want their worldview challenged. They don't want the facts at hand to be presented to them. So that's a very timely example of what I'm talking about when some people, they just want to say what they want to say. And that's true, again, of people all over the place. And they don't want to be challenged. But that's especially true of people on the far left fringe elements of the movement because they're living in Fantasyland. It's like my dad always used to say when, if something would go wrong or something, that so-and-so's living in Fantasyland. But they are. There's a level of delusion here that we cannot overlook and cannot possibly ignore. And so if you're terrified of some guy coming in and buying Twitter and making it fun and making it entertaining, you're probably one of those people who lives in a delusional world. You're one of those people who lives in your little cocoon, that lives in your echo chamber, lives in your safe space, and you don't want anyone to risk that because facts are pesky at times. And facts sometimes force you to recognize that what you believe is not true. And why would we want to allow facts to get in the way of a good narrative, right? Can't let that happen. Can't let facts get in the way of a good narrative. So what are you going to do? You're going to find a way to block all that out. Right now, Twitter has successfully found a way to block out and censor a lot of basic facts. Basic facts about biology. Like I said yesterday, basic facts about the New York Post Hunter Biden laptop story. Twitter has found a way to allow these people to live in their little shells, live in their little bubbles, live in their little worlds, and not have facts come in and burst their bubbles. And Elon Musk is going to do the opposite of that, and he's just going to open it up. People can talk about what they want to talk about. They can engage with who they want to engage with. They can debate who they want to debate. And that is something as an American we should all support. That's a very American viewpoint to have, right? And instead of common sense winning the day, we've allowed jackasses essentially to hijack everything and pretend that their feelings are more important than reality. And frankly, they're not. Your feelings don't matter to anyone other than you, or at least they certainly shouldn't. They damn sure don't matter when we come and we talk about facts, science, things of that nature. They damn sure don't matter to that whatsoever. So I hope Elon Musk makes Twitter very fun. I hope he makes it entertaining, and I hope he makes it inclusive for whoever wants to be there. And that goes with people on web. I don't care if you disagree with me on Twitter. You can tweet at me all day. I don't want you kicked off Twitter. You can tweet at me that you think I'm the dumbest person in the world and you disagree with everything I say. And more power to you. I hope you do. I hope that you get some joy out of that. You get some fun out of that. That's fine with me. If you're going to fire at me, though, I might fire back. You know, you come at the king, you best not miss, as the saying goes. You open up fire with me with a rifle, I might get a machine gun out and bust a couple rounds back at you. But point being, that should be allowed, that should be encouraged, that should be a good thing. I don't want people who disagree with me to be silent on Twitter. I want them to be as loud as possible. That's a sign that things are going really well. When your critics can be loud and in your face and confront you and push back on what you say, that's a sign of a very healthy society. When one side is just silenced and pushed aside, that is a sign of a major, major, major problem, which is where we're at now, and Elon Musk is trying to pull us back from the brink, and I sincerely hope he does. All right, next. Josephine Scriver. Talk about a blast from the past. An absolute blast from the past. For those of you who don't know, Josephine Scriber, super famous supermodel, one of the most famous models of the past 20 years. An absolute GOAT in the modeling game. Of course, GOAT, greatest of all time. She got married at Allegiant Stadium where the Raiders play. And she had a little ceremony with her husband, whose name I frankly don't even know. But what I love about this is for years, I have always said I wanted to get married on the 50-yard line at Camp Randall. She's a huge Raiders fan. She got married on the 50-yard line of Allegiant Stadium. As you can see behind me, I have my Badgers football helmets right there. Here's the reality of the situation. There'd be nothing cooler than getting married in a major football stadium. Nothing cooler whatsoever. And don't come at me with your lame garbage about, doing it right, yada, yada, yada. Look, I got a lot of ties to the football community. And when I get married, I assume there'll be a lot of scouts and coaches in the audience. It might be my only time to ever show off my arm in a setting where they're mandated to be there. Right? If I go down to the local high school, NFL scouts ain't showing up. College football scouts ain't showing up. College football coaches aren't showing up, right? Personnel of teams aren't showing up. But if I can get them into my wedding, and the wedding takes place in a football stadium, now follow me here for a second. Instead of doing the usual walk down the aisle boring BS, what we do is we have the groomsmen run routes. And now because these scouts and such are already there, they're going to be forced to watch me throw. And they might be surprised by what they see. A little accurate, maybe not the greatest arm strength, certainly not a Matthew Stafford in his youth type arm strength, but, accuracy to hit the slant routes, a little bit more mobility than they were expecting. And then after they see me throw at my wedding, they can decide whether or not they want to extend, the conversations or not. But everyone laughed at me forever and everyone mocked me. And it's like, first off, I don't give a fuck. I do whatever I want. I didn't get to where I am today by listening to what the naysayers and critics had to say when they're like, oh, that's nerdy. Yeah, I'm also a huge nerd. So what? I get paid to watch movies and write about movies and TV shows and discuss nerdy things. Welcome to my life. It's pretty sweet. It's pretty awesome. So if you think that your criticism of my love of football and wanting to get married in a football stadium is going to stop me from achieving my dreams, well, you're just going to be wrong. But now we have a model. Josephine Scriber comes in, literally snatches my dream, does the exact same thing I've always wanted to do, and it looked awesome. Charles Woodson was there. It looked like an awesome, awesome, fun time. So props to her. I give her all the credit in the world. Josephine Scriber, like I said, the GOAT. Back in like 2016, 2017, Josephine Scriber might have been the number one model in the world at that time. She's still up there. I mean, she's still among the GOATs in the industry, but now she's out there getting married at football stadiums. Whenever football and modeling collides, isn't this country amazing? Imagine explaining to someone shortly after D-Day that we live in a country so awesome that supermodels can get married in NFL stadiums. Unbelievable. What a great place to live. Finally, we've been on a roll here with entertainment lately. We've had Ozark. We've had a lot of 1883 stuff, a lot of Yellowstone stuff. We Own This City is now out on HBO, The Dropout on Hulu. Folks, there's a show that's called Under the Banner of Heaven. It is based on a true murder mystery that took place in Utah of a Mormon group of people in the 1980s, and it follows the lead detective. Rainwater from Yellowstone plays one of the detectives in the show. Andrew Garfield plays the other detective. I'm telling you all right now, if you have not already seen it, you can catch the first 2 episodes on Hulu right now. It is a very similar True Detective vibe, but obviously this is 100% true. True Detective kind of had some roots in some true stories, but it was a largely fictional tale, obviously. This is a true story, and it is crazy. It is crazy. Unfortunately, I did find out the ending. I did find out who the killers were when I was just searching around online. I wish I had. But Under the Banner of Heaven, it is dark, it is gritty, it is suspenseful, it is unsettling, it is unnerving. You feel very uncomfortable at points when you're watching it. I don't want to spoil anything, but through the first 2 episodes, I'm hooked. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to watch the entire series. It is awesome. It is outstanding. I encourage you all to do the same. If you've already seen it, tweet at me. Let me know what you think of Under the Banner of Heaven. We're 2 episodes in. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to watch the whole series the whole way through. Anyways, that's all we have for the Tuesday episode of the David Hookstead Show. I will see you all here tomorrow for the Wednesday episode.